I literally counted every single change listed for Update 2 in Doom the Dark Ages. There are 209, by the way. I double checked. This is not bait, and I'm going to break down all of them so you have everything you need to know. So grab your popcorn, check the timestamps for info, follow me on screen, or toss me in the background gently. This is going to be massive. This update adds the Ripatorium. It's an endless arena mode that lets players set up their own combat encounters within 3 unique arenas. It uses a menu interface. You also get 2 new Doomslayer skins, and a loopable demo for benchmark mode on PC, and a bunch of other improvements and fixes that we're going to go over. Tons of combat changes, wow. So the Ripatorium has a new encounter manager. This lets you select the type and the quantity of the demons that you want to spawn, and it lets you set a time limit to challenge yourself or turn on endless mode, so you can go 5 minutes long or whatever, or you can go forever. Oh, true horde mode. This is a true horde mode. You can use the enemy respawn counter to truly craft your experience. And you get 3 arenas. Arena 1 is the city of Ryul, 2 is the village of Kalim, and 3 is Harbor of Souls. And this is really cool. You get a jukebox where you can pick a Doom the Dark Ages music track for the custom encounter. People have been asking for this so much, and this is going to really bring the skill ceiling way up there. How long are people going to last? It becomes a test of endurance at some point. Too cool. There's also a benchmark mode. It's a demo mode that lets you create like a looping playlist of benchmark mode fly-throughs, which is pretty cool if you want to test your specs out. Now there is a limited time free Quakecon 2025 Doomslayer skin and an earnable perfection Doomslayer skin. So that means you just link up your account if you play during the Quakecon time frame, and I believe it's August 7th through September 1st, or you can complete an encounter in each Ripatorium arena for the other skin. So a lot of cool things. New difficulty settings. There is a new slider for max life sigils that allows players to set a life sigil capacity for their campaign run. That's something that Hugo talked about on the stream, saying, hey, well, should Nightmare have 1? Well, this lets you pick what you want to have. And you get a new difficulty slider for the Atlan perfect dodge window. So that lets you pick how long that perfect dodge window is active when you're dashing as the Atlan. Now for life sigil, and this is cool, they updated the timing of the life sigil activation flow to smooth out the experience and added a line to the life sigil activation screen that tells you which enemy type did your killing blow, so you can actually know and see. There's new sounds for when you receive that killing blow to activate a sigil, and a new sound when the sigil is activated itself. Now this is one that I just love so much, I can't get over it. A new gameplay slider for parry and melee slow motion. If you played Kives mod, or if you use the console command G_enable game time scaling 0, you actually got to see this a little beforehand. The difference being is that Kives mod didn't slow down the Atlan and Dragon, but also let you keep the slowdown in the shield throw, and the latter, the command, took it all out. So this setting, it will allow you to adjust the duration of the slow motion feedback that occurs on a successful shield parry or a melee strike when playing as the Slayer, adjustable in increments. There's a new game setting for weapon class switch style. So standard keeps the current weapon swap behavior, and you can also adjust things. You press a weapon class input in rapid succession, they'll now always switch to the currently equipped weapon within that given class. Or the new method is double tap. You press the weapon class input twice in quick succession, so tap tap, at the beginning of a weapon switch, and it'll now automatically equip the other weapon in that class if it's available. So instead of combat shotgun, you would have super shotgun. So you get to pick it right away. For audio changes, there's a global pass on combat music to make sure that the system is being triggered correctly for each encounter. No more will you have it just peter off and die, and then that takes away the momentum and the energy and power of the encounter. That should be fixed now. This is really interesting. Gameplay. Added the ability to interrupt weapon bring up and shield charge recovery animations sooner to perform a block or parry. So a lot of people say, oh, I switched my weapon and I couldn't get my shield. I died. Well, actually it's happened to Hugo on the stream to where you can now switch that off better than before, more quickly, more fluidly. There's a loading tip for melee being used to refill ammo, and it'll now appear more frequently, so you can really make sure that players understand what it takes to be in this fun zone, in this combat loop, and not left out in the dark wondering, hey, why the heck isn't this as fun as it could be? A lot of people are going to freak out about this one. Weapons. Increased speed of weapon swap animations. Now, this is clearly not a quick switching game that has been said from the get-go, but it is going to be a little quicker, a little spicy touch there, so that's going to be nice to see. Now this one's going to break a few people's hearts. The Rail Spike Impaler has some balance adjustments, a lot of adjustments too. If you're an Impaler fan, get ready. Reduced Impaler damage versus Hell Knight and Vagary demons So if you use it on that, I love doing headshots in the night hallway and temple, so I'm curious to see how that's going to change it. Reduced impaler damage versus armored demons. Knew that one was coming from a stream chat, so we're going to have to figure out with this faster weapon swap, hey, maybe it's worth switching off to the chain shot now to break the armor. If you play 50% player damage, it was at that point, but when you play 100% player damage, you could just go in and rip and tear through. You didn't really need to switch. This put further emphasis on impaler headshots by increasing the headshot damage. So now you're more incentivized to go for that skill shot. If you have the abilities, the skill sets, the aim, the focus, and the power to be able to do this, you will be rewarded more for keeping a steady hand. They reduced non-headshot damage versus various demons, so that's a little bit tricky there. And the big one of it all, shield throws that deflect off of larger demons now no longer drop impaler ammo when the stalwart upgrade is equipped. That means that you could just shoot the impaler, throw the shield, impaler, shield, because when that shield hit the enemy, ammo would come flying out. You would pick up this ammo, if not full, empowering your next shot. You could then get a headshot to bring back your melee charge. So you get in this insane combat loop of impaler, throw, headshot, melee, repeat. So that's going to be a little more balanced now. Reduce the amount of mace charge received from headshots with the lobotomy upgrade. So now that aspect of the combo has been brought back a little as well. I mean, honestly, Impaler is one of the greatest guns in the game. Next to Accelerator, do not sleep on that thing, ever. Speaking of, the Plasma Rifle class gets some changes too. Lowered base ammo on the Plasma Rifle Cycler. I don't know, the Cycler is better for destroying the Creed shield, but I think the Accelerator is the more powerful gun overall, but the Cycler is great for Komodos, so I mean, they both really have their utility, and they both are fine if you want to use them. They have adjusted the value of ammo capacity increase earned through Demonic Essence upgrades. So probably to go with the base ammo that was adjusted, kind of fitted in more proportionally at that point. Lowered the max ammo capacity of the Cycler too, so not the base ammo and the max ammo. Interesting adjustment there. Why not the Accelerator though? Why are they different? I don't know. I'm curious to know the stats behind that one. Reduced super shotgun damage versus Hell Knight, Mancubus, Pinky Rider, Cosmic Baron. Woohoo! Wow, yeah, so if you want to face tank those guys, the Knights were already buffed, nerfed, whatever a little bit to where they got delimbed from the super shotgun, so this is interesting to see even less. Mancubus, you want to be up close too, but I like to take him out from further away. Pinky Riders, ooh, yeah, that's a good weapon to use against those guys for sure. Maybe I could try the Pulverizer more now. Cosmic Baron, I felt like the SSG was too slow between the parries. I like the Impaler more there. Also incentivizes the headshot stuff. Reduce super shotgun damage versus armored demons. Oh, okay. So that means that you're going to have to figure out another play. The Arachnotron armored, you just zoom up to them, blast, and go. Well, it might still be effective, but you'll need to have some other alternatives at this point. Player can now interrupt the super shotgun reload to perform executions. That's cool. Adds a little bit of extra flow to the game, makes it nice and smooth. Now, we have more weapon changes. The chain shot. Lowered the starting ammo capacity. I don't know if that was really needed, but I'm just curious. We'll see how much it plays out. We'll see how much really in the long term it feels. Okay, the Dread Mace. This is interesting. The executions performed with the Dread Mace equipped now drop the same amount of ammo as executions performed with other melee weapons. The amount of ammo dropped as a result of other mace attacks is not changed. So that just balances it more to where, because it's a full refill, it's pretty powerful. So that should be something, kind of like the Sentinel Hammer in Horde mode in Doom Eternal, how it has the 4 charges instead of the 2. That helps you out with the balance, I would say, and I'm curious to feel this in play over the long term. Reduce Dread Mace AoE damaged. Ooh, so if you take the AoE, if you take the Dread Mace, you swing it wide, you hit a whole wave of enemies. Great for getting the Facecracker challenge in City of Ryul, the mission challenge at the very first part where you get the mace. It increased the Dread Mace direct hit damage to compensate for the AoE damage reduction. Woo, that thing's already powerful enough. How much did it increase? Okay, if you're playing 50% player damage, then yeah, I could see that being more beneficial, but we'll see. It's really strong anyway. They're just doing a little bit of nerfing, buffing, pulling it to and from. Okay, that's cool. Parrying a Hell Surge attack drops less Dread Mace charge. Okay, so now parrying will be less powerful for the Dread Mace charge. That's fine. It's like it was previously a quarter, so now it's going to be a little different. Drops triggered as a result of the Impaler headshots with the Lobotomy upgrade equipped drop less Dread Mace charge. So we touched on that a little bit earlier with the melee being lesser. Well, this is really going to be in effect now. That whole combo got a major nerf. I get it. It's very, very powerful. No, it's not just that. The Gauntlet. Lowered the amount of charge received via Duelist upgrade. It was literally like double from an Under the Mayo video. It says it recharges it faster, but what it actually does is pull out melee charges from the enemy's corpse, is the way I envision it at least, to where you got like 2 charges instead of 1. So that was a very powerful upgrade. Maybe now it'll be a little bit different, and we'll see how that goes in the long term. The Shield Saw. Ooh. Removed the slight cooldown on shield throw after catching it from a previous throw action, and refined the Shield Saw parry detection. So the shield will be a lot smoother now, better parry detection to feel that hit. The slight cooldown Hugo's mentioned on the stream, after you catch it, it's like a second and a half delay. That will be gone now, so although we are getting some gameplay changes coming up, we'll talk about that in a minute, your shield will be more powerful and better smooth flowing as well. Now, getting hit and taking damage on a parry is by design. That means that you didn't hit the parry full enough, but they're still going to give you credit for the parry. Just take a little bit of punishment, like a little, no, yeah, you didn't miss a little bit, so you still take some damage. Now, this is insane. The Atlan Stomp. Are you ready for this one? They adjusted the stomp behavior to apply an electrical stun and shock state to enemies. And the VFX video and the audio adjustments will accompany this change. And you can see on the screen right now what I'm talking about. So when attacking these shocked enemies, the Atlan will now punch faster. So you will have ability to hit faster. And you have new tutorials that cover this new behavior. Now, of course, there is a trade-off. The Atlan encounters are now updated, have a few new enemies to account for that new stomp behavior. The idea that Hugo talked about was that people would just charge up the melees, burn down the max one, charge it up, burn it down, and not really use the ones along the way. So now you stomp, you get some nasty fast punches in while they're stunned, and you build back up even faster to your ultimate ability. Really cool. Now the dragon has another change. A lot of changes actually. The empowered shot time has been extended. That means that the power that you have when you do your dodges is longer. This is interesting to me because when you finish some areas, this is really cool. A lot of people don't know this, honestly. Not baiting you here. After you defeat the enemies on the dragon, you don't have to go in for the glory kill. You can just double tap your mouse 1, mouse 2, or do the scroll wheel, thanks Decisive for that tip, to be able to defeat the Titan faster. And then after that, you defeat the Titan, you have a ship that you have to destroy for a mission challenge. You now don't waste time in the glory kill using up your empowered shot time. You now have more of that to go defeat the ship super fast, because those things, they can be a little tricky right when they're flying around. Well, now we have even more empowered shot time. They updated the anti-dragon's AI projectile attacks in the tutorial to include some line attacks and remove the hourglass projectile. So that's been adjusted. And they improved the tutorial messaging for the assault mode dash directions, and then added new HUD elements to indicate when the player, or you rather, should initiate the assault mode and the dodge actions. So it's better UI to show you like, hey, you should be doing this at this point. Shorten the delay time for the AI firing projectiles after lock-on. So now you go lock-on, you don't have to wait until just a moment the enemies will start shooting. So now you don't have to click, wait. Okay, now they're firing. This is the one that people are going to love. Are you ready? Listen closely. I'm going to read it. Players will now skip straight to the holy city of Eratum if tutorials are turned off. Boom! Just like Prote's Streamline Campaign mod, you go right to it. Very curious to see how speedrunners are going to do this. It's a big old time save because a lot of dragon cutscenes, some stuff you can't skip, but there's also a lot of combat changes that are going to make this game a whole lot tougher. And so it's going to be a really interesting trade-off to see. Enemy AI changes. Oh boy, are you ready for this one? Made the Creedmaker fight more challenging. It's already a good fight. Good to get that accelerator mastery. I'm wondering how they're going to make it even tougher because, like I said, it's a good challenge. Extended the range on Prince Azric's spear. That's already a strong weapon. Oh, these fights are already dicey. Now they're going to be even dicier at the end of the game when your nerves are shot, when you're excited, when you're nervous, knees weak, palms sweaty, mom spaghetti, whatever, and now you're going to have more of it. The old one's aerial slam damage radius now covers the entire arena. So he got buffed too. So all these in-game bosses get buffed. They've added some FX and sound effects to this and also increased the AoE of that Wave Blast from the Komodo's Graviton arm attack. So yeah, the Komodo got a buff too, and that's not the only way the Komodo is going to indirectly get a buff. So the arm slammy attack from the Komodo has more range now. Completed a pass on AI logic events to ensure that they're stopping correctly when AI pain reactions are triggered. So this will just help smooth out the flow of the gameplay, make sure it's working as it's supposed to, which is good. The Pinky Bite attack has been updated with new animations, FX, and audio to help the attack read better. So you have a better telegraph of that Pinky Bite attack to be able to tell this is coming, this is not. Because some enemies, they bypass that death protection, the brink of death window, and the Pinky Rider is an enemy that is related to that as far as your instant death versus not. Oh, HP buffs have been added to the Cacodemon and the Mancubus and the Armored Mancubus. Tanky enemies got tankier, which you could really just, stagger the Cacodemon with one parry charged rocket, or you could wipe him out with the Dread Mace if you know he's spawning and camp him there. The Mank is tanky, it's worse. The Armored Mancubus even worse now. It's going to be even tougher. Okay, so this one, I don't know what to make of this one. Again, this is one you have to see in the long term. It's going to be a little spicy dicey. Address the Chain Gunner Soldier's target acquisition, fire rate, and overall player responsiveness. Those guys are nasty. If they get even nastier, they're going to be even more of a priority than they already are. I trust that id Software's tested, balanced, and the whole nine. Just got to be on our toes as players, that is for sure. The Pinky Rider leader attack now fires shield projectiles at the start of the Flame Wall attack. So a little bit of a buff there, instead of just the basic fire projectiles. The Mancubus flamethrower damage is up. The Mancubus fireball speed and size up. Man, more health, power. The Mancubus is going to be a lot deadlier now, especially early game. I wonder what's going to happen there. Speaking of levels, there's a lot to talk about here. In Hebeth, a checkpoint now appears after reaching where the accelerator would be picked up when playing the level through Mission Select, which is a cool little change, a little quality of life there. Same thing with Sentinel Barracks, you get a checkpoint now after reaching where the Pulverizer would be picked up because there's a lot of walking up to that point, also a good change. In Reckoning, they added a checkpoint after the intro sync animation for Azric and the Witch, meaning that you don't kick the door open and he says kill him, avenge, blah, all that, you go past that. So as a player loading in the checkpoint, you got to be ready. It saves the time, low quality life change. Combat encounter updates. Yes, this game is being made harder and easier. Get ready. There's a lot of insanely meaningful changes here. So much so that if you do Ultra Nightmare, you better do a Nightmare run to get yourself ready. In the Sentinel Barracks, the Tomb Arena, they've reduced the number of spawns in the Stone Imp wave, which is good, though it's a whole lot of them there. The Vagary Champion encounter, reduced the Mancubus maintain from 2 to 1. It has been nerfed. Previously, what you could do is take down one of the Mancubi and just leave the other one alive, and the second one would not respawn. Now you don't have to worry about that. I've also tried taking off their arms with the Impeller to see if they would not shoot anymore like other enemies do, like Knights and Mancubi, but they still shoot from armless, cannonless arms? Yeah, that would be the right way to say it. So they still do. Interesting. Holy City of Eratom's secret Gore Nest encounter replaced the Nightmare Imp Stalker with the Chain Gunner, added a Mancubus maintain for Pinky Rider leader support, and added an Imp maintain for Pinky Rider leader support as well. So if you're unfamiliar with what a maintain is, that is an enemy that continually spawns in until the trigger enemy, or the one that phases the fight forward, in case leader here is what we're talking about, is dead. So they will continually spawn in the Mancubi, the Imp, until the leader has fallen to help keep that fight spicy. That's what a maintain is. Siege 1, Southside Gore Nest, a full encounter rework. Okay, wow, that is massive. Doesn't say much more than that, just full encounter rework. So curious to see how that's going to be. The Abyssal Forest in the Overgrowth mid encounter has 2 Mortar Mancubi. The Overgrowth Tree has an added Hell Knight. The Ruins Arena has 2 Hell Knights. The Canyon Fight has additional fodder along the path and an Armored Mancubus with Phalanx. So that means that they're going to have an Armored Mancubus with the extra shield guys to help guard a sense. You've seen that in battles, I'm sure. Oh, talk about bosses. You ready for this one? Agadon boss fight. Added 2 Mancubi. Added imps as well. So now you're not going to have to worry about that big Agadon arena alone. Normally in that kind of arena, you could run away super duper far, restack, kill all the little fodder, get your armor back. Well, now you're going to have more enemies that are going to be on your toes there. So we'll see how much they follow you and how tough that is pressureful. In the Ancestral Forge, the Mind Switch encounter has Chain Gunner reinforcement and 2 Mancubi. The Ancestral Final, with all 3 switches to activate, has Nightmare Imp Stalkers and an Arachnotron and Imps. Extra spicy there. And get this one too. In the final fight of it, they're going to add an Arachnotron on the Morale Shield break and a Hell Knight on the break as well. So once you break that leader shield, you're going to have a Spider and a Knight to deal with. Holy cow, these changes. There's a lot of them. There's a couple nerfs, more buffs too. The Forsaken Plains left tower combat has an Arachnotron maintain after the Morale Shield break, so those guys are tricky. Definitely a ranged enemy to be able to take you down, while the melee close pressure enemy, like a Knight, just leans into you there. Right tower combat has an Arachnotron and Battle Knight after the morale shield breaks. That's going to be spicier. Now this one's interesting too. The Hellbreaker level, the Castle Interior Ambush, you know, where you just break in, you have the Nightmare Imp Stalker spawn and a Revenant maintain. Ouch. Sentinel Command Station, in that maintenance hallway encounter, you have an Imp Stalker maintain. In the hangar, the tank hangar where you have like the Soul Sphere leader, you have an Arachnotron maintain. Remember, they come back continuously for leader support and Mancubus. So yeah, you want to have a Spider and a big boy while you're trying to take the leader down. Final Atrium encounter has a Mancubus maintain for the Cyber Demon support and an Arachno maintain. And From Beyond with the Machine Space encounter has Mortar Mancubus and Reduce the Soldiers, so a bit of a pull and a push there. The Summon encounter has more Revenants, a maintain rather, so that's going to be neat to see. And the Spire of Naruthul Komodo boss fight, all it says added Arachnotron. So now you're dealing with the Komodo, and I got Arachnos too. Hopefully you can go off and go to the Soul Sphere down over the edge of the ledge and pick that up, as long as you don't put yourself in a bad situation blocking in position, which that can do as well. It's risky. You get stuck, cornered. The Cliffside Extra Life fight, yeah, you have a Cacodemon and Battle Knights. Didn't that just have a Komodo? That's a lot. That's already a lot. In the Gore Nest, here's interesting too. They took out the Whiplash and added a Pinky Rider, a Nightmare Imp Stalker, and a Revenant. That is pretty an interesting change. That's also change number 100. There's so much stuff in this update that is so interesting to see. So they do this before the morale break, and Whiplash is after the morale break. On that Hanging Ship Path stasis emitter, they have Arachnotrons. In the Cathedral Path, they have Arachnotrons. On the Mountaintop attack fight, they have Battle Knights. And here's something too. In the pre-BFC Gauntlet, they have Whiplash. So more little enemies spicing it up. Nothing over the top like 15 Cyber Demons, but enough to add some spice to these Pacebreaker type areas and make the arenas themselves harder. As we go into the Cosmic Realm, the City of Ryul has some changes. The Undercity Tunnel Arena has Imp Stalker support for that Vagary. Vagary or Vagary? I gotta get that right. And Arachnotron support for the Agadon leader. My goodness, there's a BFG, or rather BFC pickup in that arena. I do use it there because, well, you need to pick it up. So yeah, this arena is definitely keeping that BFC in there. Right, Hugo? Right? The Floating Island Gore Nest has barriers around the floating arena while in combat. See, that's interesting. That's really interesting to me, because you could previously just fall off, reset yourself, keep your shield up, but now you have barriers, so you're not able to do that in the combat. You're not able to reposition yourself that way, which when you come back from falling off, you still need to be ready, but this takes that option from you to make it a tight, tough fight. They adjusted the timing of some enemy spawns as well. In the Marshes, on the Northside Monolith Arena, they have some Mancubus maintained after that morale shield break, which those Mancubus seem like they're pretty popular to maintain because they're heavies, they're tough, but they're not like Cosmic Baron maintains. That would be a little crazy. Maybe DLC Master level stuff, or not. The Southside Monolith Arena, they increase the area in which the enemies can engage the players, so that means that you will have more pressure from more distance to be able to have to fight with. So they're not increasing the enemy count necessarily, but the area in which you can be fought. So that indirectly changes the difficulty of it. The Temple Shipyard Arena has an Arachnotron maintained around the Vagary. Ouch. That's tricky too, but you don't actually need to take that guy down to get enough of the leader morale bar to fall. So this is another one too. Added a change roll command if you ignore the first Arachnotron and Revenant. Curious to see how that will be in there. Added force charge once the morale shield is broken. So there's going to be some tighter changes there. Belly of the Beast, the Belly Formation encounter, removed the Revenant, but added a maintain group with Mancubus and Armored Arachnotron around that Vagary. I've got to get that right. The Temple Return encounter has Armored Arachnos around the Agadon Hunter. Ouch. Harbor of Souls in the Courtyard has a Revenant maintained to the Vagary wave. I want to go with that pronunciation. Now here's something tricky too. The Leader Komodo encounter. They added Arachno maintained to that wave. A Komodo, especially a leader, is already tricky to fight, and now you have something from the distance peppering you away if you don't just charge over there and take them out, or use your shield, leaving you vulnerable for a moment. On the barge deck, they added Mancubi to the Komodo wave, a Mancubus rather, 2 Mancubus and 2 Lost Souls on the shield break for the morale, and Arachno maintains for the Pinky Rider leader support. So if you just grab the Berserky BFC everything away, even if you have 0 ammo, you do a lot of damage there, but it's pretty painful. On the Farm Leader encounter, it says that the Whiplash is to the Enforcer group, and added an Armored Arachnotron maintain around the Cyber Demon, and changed the morale break spawns from 2 Whiplashes to Acolyte and Arachnotron, and maintain an Armored Arachnotron after the shield break. On the Graveyard Leader encounter, they added Cyber Demon to the front portion of the encounter and changed the Pinky Rider to an Enforcer and Enforced Heavies in that pod, it says. Added a Battle Knight near the Pinky Rider Enforcer, and then a Chain Gunner near the Arachnotron, spawned a Mancubus once the leader spawns in, and, on top of this, as if that was not enough power already, spawned an Arachnotron around half of leader health. Whoa. The Village Leader encounter has a maintained Mancubus around the leader Acolyte. The Cave Gorenest encounter has a full encounter rework. Curious to see that one. The Outside Gorenest added a Cacodemon maintain after the first super heavy death keeps it spicy. Now the Blue Key Artillery Berserk encounter, they add a lot. An Armored Pinky Rider, an Armored Arachnotron, Mancubus, 2 Whiplashes. Oh, all this of course for Resurrection. In Final Battle, all encounters added 1 to 2 additional serfs per area, so it sounds like Titans, but that can also mean something else too. In Reckoning, in the final morale fight, they added a Battle Knight maintain after the morale shield break. Ooh, to have that maintained as you're going in is going to be nasty, especially if you use that Vagary to master your Ravager ability, or maybe use the Cyber Demon before, because you can continually shoot that Ravager, get the ammo, the health back, and work on the mastery that way. Holy cow, that's going to be extra spicy, especially at the end of the game. Speaking of that boss Vagary rematch, they added Mancubus spawns and an Armored Arachnotron maintained. So again, going for that mastery is going to be a little trickier now, because you're not just going to have nothing fighting you after you defeat the Acolyte. You're going to have things constantly coming after you. There's some lighting changes as well. I bet they optimized some shadows for the potential use with wide FOV. I'm like not super wide, so that's cool for those that are. Minor lighting adjustments in Forge and Reckoning to get better readability in combat spaces, which is cool, so you can see the arena better, so you can have more fun and understand what you're fighting a little better. There are some bug fixes. There were some crashes in Harbor of Souls when you approach the Fortress Gate near the Armored Mancubus on PC. I didn't really run into that. There was also a crash when trying to get Pandemonium save data from Update 1, and a crash in Spire of Narathul with the Water Drain cinematic. And a rare crash, no, not about this one, on the map loading screen when transitioning to Spire. There's some great gameplay and checkpoint changes that people are going to love. Players who die or reload a checkpoint after receiving a Demonic Essence upgrade no longer need to kill the leader again to receive the upgrade. The change also fixes the map completion being stuck at 99% for some players, where you could just not get 100 even though you did it, just because you died after defeating that leader. They address an issue with reloading the checkpoint or dying during the Armored Surf, which sounds like a Titan, that arena that caused new demons to spawn and progression to be blocked. For traversal, several jump pads now correctly trigger the launching sound effects and launch the player. Visually, they fixed an FOV bug with small things like 90, 91, 92 could cause some grass to be culled incorrectly and just disappear, so it made the ground look like it was flickering when you're firing weapons in certain locations. Now, for PS5, they fixed a rare crash in combat in the final demonic portal in the Slayer arena, and fixed an issue that caused the Berserker milestone to complete early. They adjusted some enemy AI melee attacks to prevent damage from going around your shield, and Hugo addressed that in a stream. It happened, it looks like. They lowered the idle time for the Battle Knight between spawning and attacking. Trickier there. For the Battle Knight, they fixed a bug where the axe swings wouldn't consistently collide with you when other AI were nearby. The Agadon Hunter now plays death animations and does not just go like straight to the ragdoll, so people be happy that want the glory kills. That's a compromise, right? The Kako Shield now visually appears without any invulnerability window. Interesting there. They fixed something with the Komodo where it would still take damage from a parry AoE when surrounded by the leader's shield. Now the Mancubus and Armored Mancubus now correctly stop firing projectiles from a severed right arm, which that's a funny thing there. Armored Mancubus, parried projectile no longer just hovers in the air if he dies in mid-flight. Of course, we have some weapon changes coming up next too. Now the old one, the mace no longer disappears during attacks after using the Atlan Siegebreaker, and they fixed an issue where the Hellcarrier projectiles hitting the dragon might not cause a pain reaction sound if the target lock was delayed. There was a bug fix where the Whiplash wasn't immediately stunned by the embedded shield saw attack after slithering, which is so nice to see. And an Enforcer buff visual effect now correctly displays on Cosmic Barons and Imps. We have some weapon changes. Are you ready for this one? They fixed an issue where you could get just locked up in controls after fully upgrading a weapon. And there's an interesting shield saw change here too. A lot of them actually. The shield charge impact no longer triggers a glory kill on nearby dazed enemies, and the throw is no longer briefly inhibited after swapping to certain weapons and then immediately firing that weapon. So you have more reaction with that. There's an issue with radius damage using some expansion speed allowing for multiple parries, which that's an interesting thing there. I'd be curious to see what that means in combat. Now with the super shotgun, they fixed a bug where the reload would stop and prevent the shield throws, so that's good that they have better synergy now. The accelerator overload impact visual effects of the projectiles, it's now red instead of blue, and pulse firing the weapon no longer allows you to charge the weapon for half the ammo cost. With the gauntlet, they fixed an issue where the Encore upgrade was affecting standard charges of the gauntlet, which would increase its refill rate beyond what was actually intended. Speaking of melee, with the mace, they fixed the part where the mace wouldn't no longer cause heavy falters after purchasing certain upgrades. So it was doing an unintended thing, and it's now fixed. With the Atlan, they fixed something where the Atlan was invincible when dodging left. I never knew that. How did they even find that? Or when the perfect dodge window was extending beyond the dodge action, so it's more in line. All these Atlan adjustments are going to give it a much bigger, better feel. Level changes. Hebeth, the zombie fodder AI, no longer placed inside the wall behind the plasma accelerator weapon pickup. Jumping over to Holy City, there's a rare bug where the tanks on the assault mode tutorial tower, they would split in half and still fire at you. Now the Slayer can't be stuck in the scaffold wreckage collision near the Cycler pickup arena on that undersitting landing zone anymore. And on Siege 2, the Surf is what it's called in the notes here, no longer disappears after restarting the checkpoint, and you can no longer respawn behind the demonic barrier by jumping, and check this out, by jumping into Fade Volume near the beginning of the bridge to the elevator room. That's an interesting patch note there. Revenant near the turret courtyard no longer becomes idle when passing through the doorway, and in the Abyssal Forest, you can't become trapped between rocks and fall out of the world. Jumping ahead to Hellbreaker, fixed a bug where the Crushinator mission challenge was counting tanks toward its completion. I had no idea. That's super interesting to me because maybe I was too far away and still getting credit. Who knows? From Beyond, the checkpoint in the machine space now functions correctly and no longer places you at the pre-summit checkpoint. Jumping ahead to Spire, Slayer now can traverse on water in multiple places in the Sunken Path secret area. Ah, interesting to see. I'm curious what that looks like. The wall scrambles in the BFC Temple area are now reflected on the auto map, and the Imp no longer spawns stuck against the wall in the Sunken Path secret area. Over to the Cosmic Realm in the Carthul Marshes, the minor arena north of the Sentinel Shrine will now correctly complete on the auto map, and in the Temple, auto map now includes the leader encounter icon in the Shipwreck Arena. You can no longer hit the metal target node from the ground floor to bypass the Cosmic Eye water tunnel in the Shipwreck Arena. Did not know you could do that. Over in Resurrection, the cave hazards on the path to the Creed Maker ship now move correctly after checkpoint reload. Didn't realize that. Ooh, added a delay before the Creed Maker can use a laser attack after being interrupted by a falter or daze. It's supposed to be made harder, so I'm curious to see what this looks like. In Reckoning, the Cosmic Baron in the Berserk pickup room encounter before Prince Azurk fight can now fit through arched doorways, and the Witch now has a daze ring after being dazed. With the engine, they made some changes implemented for PC. I'm going to need some little help with this. VRS and VRCS. I'm not familiar with this, but it matches functionality already present on consoles. Maybe someone knows more on that one. They fixed an issue where there was visible banding on water surfaces in some cases. Some cinematic changes here. This is interesting. Village of Colleen, the intro text no longer appears in the gameplay briefly if the player skips a cinematic. Over in Barrier Corp, skipping the Power Core interactive no longer results in the vessel door and all the light and smoke visual effects remaining in the game. Jump into the city of Eratum, the explosion sound during the transition between cinematics is no longer cut off with the tutorials turned off, and they fixed an issue where you press hold to skip cinematic is happening before you see the prompt to actually press hold and skip it. In Siege 1, holding down the spacebar on the wall climb at the end of the level will no longer cause you to accidentally skip the cinematic, which is interesting because Hugo has said that people are missing key elements with cinematics being skipped. They made some UI changes as well. With Bethesda.net, you got a 20 character password limit no longer blocks you from linking your account. In Holy City, the active dragon dodge tutorial window no longer overlaps the passive dragon assault mode tutorial window. And adjusting the powered attacks modifier now correctly applies a modified tag to a save file, so I guess before it didn't actually show you adjusted it. In the benchmark mode, they updated the Abyssal Forest screenshot and the accelerator overload. Both charge bars no longer rubber band and drop to lower charge amounts before returning to normal. In the parry and slow motion in the settings, they removed the extra impulse being applied to a corpse's ragdoll after executing a demon when this setting is turned off. They made a couple audio changes. The grenade launcher sound effects explosion no longer distorted when firing multiple times in succession, and the Atlan low health audio no longer plays while around 350 health. And they also updated the Stone Imp immolation sound effects. And number 209, just to talk about the Ripatorium, not necessarily in the patch notes here, you can pick demons how many you want in the map and how much you want the capacity to be. A lot of crazy stuff coming up with this. Subscribe for more updates and videos. We got it through all 209, and check out the next one here on your screen. Thanks for watching.